That, of course, is Grammy-nominated American Jewish singer Matisyahu performing his hit song, One Day. On Friday, his concert was abruptly canceled in Chicago, citing threats of protests from pro-Palestinian groups. It is actually his third show of his current tour to be canceled in the U.S. for that reason. Matisyahu joins us now. It's good to have you with us. Can you tell me more about these threats? How specific were they, and how concerned are you?
Well, there haven't been any threats, which is why the whole thing is kind of like a little bit fishy. There's been 3 shows canceled for 3 different reasons, but all because of pressure put on the organizations that were putting on those shows, whether it was the venue or the promoter, or in this case, the city of Chicago. There's been a pressure applied in certain circumstances, and someone is being told to shut down these shows. And in this particular case in Chicago, you know, it's like basically seems like it was politically motivated or came from that end, because the venue itself, House of Blues, is owned by Live Nation. And so there was no issue from the venue. I mean, the people at the venue didn't even have any idea that the show was being canceled. And it came from, it came from up top, and we spent hours and hours on the phone with different people. A good friend of mine, David Draymond, who's the lead singer for a band Disturbed, who's from Chicago and knows the police department well. And everyone was basically pointing their fingers at someone else. But meanwhile, we were being told that we were not allowed to play the show.
And I noticed when you posted about this on social media, noting that the show was being canceled, you were saying you couldn't really get an answer. I mean, how frustrating is that for you that you are not being told directly, hey, here's the real issue and this is why we're shutting it down?
It's extremely frustrating for me and for my entire crew. Like, for my tour manager, who thinks he's setting up the show and the venue isn't telling him, yeah, come set up the show. And meanwhile, we're getting calls saying the show's been called off. And what do we tell the fans? And you know, people are really, really hungry for a place right now where they can feel openly Jewish, you know, whether it's in Minneapolis or Chicago or Arizona, wherever it is. The one thing about the shows is the fans come in, even if there's protesters, and it's safe. And when they're inside the building, you know, they're allowed to be Jewish. They're allowed to feel free about wearing a yarmulke or whatever it is. And not to say that the crowd is all Jewish. It's you know, maybe 50 or 40% Jewish, but it's a place where they can feel free to do it. And there's a joy that comes in the music, and you know, the music is about peace, it's about love, but it's, you know, very much connected to what's going on right now. It's hard for me to separate between everything what's happening. So, but it's just a shame. The sad part for me is just that the fans don't get, you know, there were 1,400 fans that, you know, plan to come to the show and have that experience, and it's spiritual, and they got robbed from that because people are folding under pressure. And in a city like Chicago, a music city, a city about creativity and art, it's sad to see this fabric getting pulled apart, you know.
We played One Day, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. As we came in from the break, it's been described as a peace anthem, and I just want to put up some of the lyrics again for people in case they're not familiar with the song. All my life, I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more, there'll be no more wars, our children will play. Do you believe that can happen in Gaza, that we can get to that place?
Well, I have to believe. Everyone has to believe, and whether or not it's going to come true or not, you know, we don't know what's going to be. But the whole idea, I think, of religion, which is a lot of this is connected to, and about God, is the idea that we have a vision of what we want, of what we want to create, of what we want this world to be. And if we lose sight of that vision, then there's no chance that we'll make any strides forward. So while I do I believe that it's possible, I have to try to believe. We have to try to believe. We can't ignore what's happening, and we can't not stand up for ourselves, you know, but we have to believe that peace is possible.
When you know, to that point, as you see this humanitarian crisis unfolding in Gaza, children dying of starvation and malnutrition, what do you think needs to change, whether it's in the conversation or what you're seeing happening? What's missing here?
Well, what needs to happen is the people of Palestine need to be freed from Hamas and organizations like it. And if that happens, then those Palestinians will get their aid. You know, the whole entire world wants to help the Palestinians right now. including Israel, and that's this whole thing that needs to get changed, is this myth that Israel is the bad guy in all of this and that Hamas is somehow standing up for the Palestinian people, because it's not true.
Matisyahu, really appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.